Yes, hi, welcome back to the show. We're here with a future Hall of Famer, boxing legend, Sugar Shane Mosley. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. Feeling good.
You went to the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame last year, right?
Yeah.
I'm already a Hall of Fame.
I'm Hall of Fame, yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Let me get that plug for you.
Listen, we got you here. We want to talk welterweight division. Obviously, it's so stacked right now, particularly at PBC.
Yes.
Manny Pacquiao, one of the greatest names in that division. It's a name that a lot of the younger champs have been very vocal about the fact that they'd like a shot at getting that name on their resume, on their record. Who would you like to see, if you could pick right now, who would you like to see Manny Pacquiao face?
Man, all of them. All of them. I mean,
Shawn over here. Because I'm right here in front of him. I don't want him to be like, I want Shawn to fight. But all of them. That's a great answer.
I think that this is a new era. Pacquiao was in a different era. How would Pacquiao fare in this era now with certain fighters? So, you know, you have all the welterweights in there. I like to see him. I think Earl Spence was trying to talk about fighting him. You have Thurman, and then you have Shawn, and you have Danny Garcia. There's a lot of great welterweights. I mean, even Terrence Crawford's out there too as well. But you know, everybody in the welterweight division, there's a lot, and I think that it'd be good to see what Pacquiao can do.
But to you, which one would be like more exciting? More of a exciting fight. And you don't have to say Shawn.
I don't really necessarily know which one would be the most exciting fight. I know that I think if Shawn been here, I think that he's a fight that would be kind of like Timothy Bradley, because Timothy was really
I like
a lot of punches like that. Yes. So I think that would be type of the same similarity in that fight. Then you have Earl Spence a little taller and bigger. So what will happen with Pacquiao, the speed, and how would he approach that? I mean, all the fighters that are fighting at welterweight, there's a stacked division. So
After having seen the way Errol performed against Mikey Garcia in Dallas, do you feel that Pacquiao could have been outmatched by Errol at this point in time?
No, not necessarily. I think Pacquiao has a different style than Mike Garcia. Mike Garcia, he's more of he's kind of a boxer, puncher, if you will, and he's smaller. Pacquiao is more like a buzzsaw, so Earl Spence wouldn't be able to just throw a jab or a left hand, because Pacquiao can kind of slip by and throw a lot of combinations and kind of throw him off. He has this weird type of style. It's a different southpaw style. So he could give Earl Spence a lot more problems than I think Mikey did.
I totally agree with Shane. I mean, the comparison there with Mikey. Mikey's a thinker. And he was thinking too much, that to a point that he wasn't throwing, but he had that jab in his face. Yeah. And Manny Pacquiao just, for any of the welterweights, Manny is trouble. Period. I think so. His style just adapts so perfectly to any style.
And Shane, what do you like most about the welterweight division? I mean, everybody's a little bit different, but we're all kind of exciting. When you look at the top names, who do you look at and you say, that's the guy?
I think that you guys everybody in the welterweight division is different, and they all have their different powers, if you will. I mean, some guys are good with the power, punching power. Some guys are good coming inside. Some guys are good at boxing. So it's whose style gonna basically win everything. Win the whole division. So everybody has their
Could you pick a name?
I couldn't pick a name. I would be fair to any of the fighters if I said this fighter they gonna win or that fighter win, because I think that each fighter could win.
That's kind of what we were talking about earlier. We were saying it's not necessarily about this guy or that guy. It's more so about which two guys make for an exciting fight.
Sure. So I agree with that. So it's like there's two guys that can make a great fight. I don't know how the Pacquiao fight would go with Keith Thurman. I think maybe Pacquiao is too aggressive for Keith, and Keith can't keep him off of him. And it's going to be a hard fight, a long night for Keith. But I don't know. Maybe Keith catches Pacquiao with a good right hand, and, we all see what happens when Pacquiao gets hit with a good right hand, Marquez. So you never know.
You've got the experience, obviously, of fighting into your 40s. There's been a lot of talk about Manny Pacquiao doing that. I mean,
and that's another thing too.
Do you look back ever and think, I wish I'd ended earlier? I wish I'd stopped it earlier?
No, I know I would never be able to end it earlier, but I know that when I was 40 years old, I knew I could feel the difference from when I was 25 or 30. You know, even 35, I felt the difference from 35 to 40. Like right when I turned 40, it's like I see stuff happening and I know I can do it, but it just doesn't happen. I just can't do it. I can't get the punch in or the speed. It's not good. It's something. It was something that's holding me back. So I know that at 40, things seem to change. And even when Pacquiao fought the last fight, I thought that he looked like Pacquiao, but not really like the old Pacquiao. But he still had, you know, he still threw a lot of punches, he still had power, he still had all those things, but it wasn't the same.
So how do you fight successfully in your 40s? I mean, we can throw Mayweather in here, and the reason is because his style. I think he could fight up to like 50, 60 just because of his fighting style, right? I mean, he's so defensive.
I think more of his style, you're right. Yeah. The style makes a difference in the way Mayweather fights. I mean, Mayweather could sit, he could fight with you, he could punch. But at the same time, he's an excellent boxer. He knows the game, you know, and it's hard to beat somebody that knows the game as well as Mayweather knows it.
You think at that point, rearing 40 and over, it becomes more of a mental factor for you in terms of performance in the ring?
It's definitely more of a mental factor. When you're in the ring at 40, you have to make sure everything's right. You gotta eat right, you gotta run right, you gotta stretch, and you gotta do all the things that you don't have to do when you're younger.
I do all that stuff now. Say about me.
I mean, I'm saying, but you don't really have to do it, but you do it.
Yeah.
But when you're older, you have to do it.
It's gotta be done.
It has to be done.
I mean, Manny Pacquiao, we all assume coming to the end of his career in boxing. Mayweather already out of the game at this point in time. So we're looking for the baton to be passed on to the next kind of big star. If we're talking any division, so forget welterweight for a minute, we widen it out. Who do you think has the ability in boxing right now to become the next big draw?
Dun, 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 dun.
Well, it has to go with the personalities, all the personalities. And then I'm going to say, at this present moment, probably, you know, you always look for the heavyweights. So probably like Deontay Wilder.
Yeah.
I mean, he's kind of the one that's running it, if you will, right now because he's the heavyweight champion. And we got to see what happens with him. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guys, personality. Shawn has a great personality. Abner Mares. You have people with great personalities that people want to see. Now at times they're the world champion. Maybe they're not. They're coming up. I mean, Dan Garcia has a great personality, and people seem to love him as well. And he's been helping out the sport of boxing by some of the wins, controversial wins, are actual wins. But he's been helping the sport of boxing just by him being a part of the boxing game.
Got you. Listen, we're running out of time. We're going to have to go. It was so good to see you. Thanks for dropping by. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Well, if you enjoyed that clip, make sure you click somewhere around here and subscribe. From fight highlights to exclusive interviews, we have got everything you need as a boxing fan right here on PBC on Fox.